guys linked up was the IDE and the was it a memory upgrade or whatever?
Yeah, it's 4 meg and an IDE upgrade.
That price was totally super reasonable.
Yeah.
What a deal. Are those actually available now, or are they?
Well, I mean, according to the site they are, but you know how that goes.
Let me tell you something. You get WHD load on the 5 there, you're laughing.
Right.
And you get a little more memory.
Right.
You'll have the most compatible Amiga around. You won't have to load up this stuff.
Exactly. So that's the hope.
I've got the discs for Star Control. I wish I brought them.
We did. Somebody did ask us if we were going to put the show, use the Real 500 today, and I was like, well, we don't.
Well, when you get the it's better because no one wants to sit there and watch us load up discs. It's better when you get the WHD. We'll be laughing.
Yeah.
That's more logical maneuver.
Let's pop this out.
Because you can't beat that compact flash. Because hell, I could just copy my compact flash drive and stick it in there probably.
All right. Talk some.
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3.
So we should probably put that about right there. Okay. I just feel it's still a little hot.
Hot. Woo.
Okay.
Hot. I said hot.
So, we need to WG2. But I'm really excited to be able to tape from both. Or everything runs off the desktop now.
I watched your Kicks video. In fact, right when you put up the experiment video, I happened to be sitting there. I was like, oh, shit, he got it working. That looks great. Fuck off.
Yeah, I was very pleased.
And then I watched Kicks. It's like, I love Kicks. Which I did. I'm a big fan of Kicks.
But you never played the Amiga?
I don't know if I hadn't seen that version because when you filled in the squares, it was very cool looking.
Yeah.
The one I played most was on the Coco.
Really?
I wish that Coco. We're not recording, are we?
Yeah, we're recording. Well, I mean, we're streaming, but
I don't want to badmouth somebody. Then is there anybody listening?
Well, here's the thing: we're gonna do a new Coco podcast one day, and it's gonna be the best Coco podcast.
It's so boring, dude.
It's.
I've tried to sit through it. I just can't do it. The technical aspects of the Coco, I have no interest in.
Yeah.
Accolade presents. Are we recording now?
Oh, yeah. Let's just go ahead and start this up here. Adjust.
And the joysticks.
Joystick should be set.
Oh, okay, beauty.
Hit the button.
Well done.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to... Oh, we don't even have our people here. You can't see us. How do I fix this? Go to here. You know what? Let's just do that. Let's go with that. Except for the fact that we can't see you at all.
Dude, that's not the worst thing.
How much control do we have? It's not that much. Oh, there we go. Now you can't see either of us. It's perfect.
What happened to our other camera?
I haven't set it up yet. I forgot about that. I guess we can do that real quick.
We can scoot back and play.
Let me just grab this other camera.
It'll work. Let's scoot back, see?
Okay.
Now, if the mic can still pick us up, we're laughing.
Look at that.
There you go. See?
This was a sound investment.
Okay.
Now,
do we start over? Or?
Oh, no.
Do you have to click on the window?
We start.
Doesn't it look kind of cheesy if we...
Well, we're gonna start right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Star Control. This is a... let's see here. Okay, Aaron, you have control of the star. Yeah, you do. Well, somebody's got control. All right.
There we go. We're gonna fight. Fight, yo.
Okay. Luckily you both set us on the keyboard control, so we will not be able to do that.
I thought you said it was already set up. My bad.
Just reset the old Amiga here. Hey, David. Hey, Jason. Welcome to our...
You're just in time.
Yeah, you're just in time for us to have to restart and reset the controls. Oh, now the mouse isn't working right. Awesome. So we're just going to...
We should just start this entire video again.
Yeah, we'll start it again. That's the great thing about keeping the stream running. Is we can stop the recording at any time and still keep the stream going. Okay. Oh yeah, the YouTube title does say that. We'll change it before the show. We want to get this.
Plants vs. Zombies. My kid loves that game.
I was playing that last night. Okay. So we need to start the recording. Hi everybody. Welcome to our live stream of Star Control. I just need to load it up here momentarily. Probably should have waited a little longer to start the recording, but hey.
People want to see the behind the scenes.
That's true.
The behind the scenes of how you load Star Control.
You know, there's a lot of games that start with S for the Amiga.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get to reset the controls up.
No, we should be good. But in the game itself, yes.
Okay.
So you go ahead and hit your button. Hit my button. We'll all hit our buttons.
Reset the controls. Well done, well done.
Okay.
Nope.
Nothing, huh? Okay, so set players. How do you...
It hasn't detected. I don't think the joysticks.
Well, it does it automatically.
I don't think it's detecting joysticks. Maybe.
What do we want here? We want game ports.
That was it.
Can you move?
No.
I don't know why it's. Can I? Okay, so that lets me do that. I've definitely done this with the joystick before, I think. I mean, I've got nothing. This is exactly the same as it always looks.
Once you exit the game, just reload it. Did you load that up on the WHD load?
Yeah.
You don't have to actually. You don't have to quit that way. You know.
Whenever I try and quit any other way, I lose control of the mouse.
Really? That's bizarre.
Well, actually, I guess the other way. I see what you mean. You mean hit and print screen or whatever.
That's right.
I could have done that. I always forget about that.
It's always quicker.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you are correct. Okay, so before we get into it. No, I can't because I've got to use the mouse to navigate to the game. Oh, boy. Star Control.
Look very sharp today.
Thank you. I did not have time to change into my normal Amigos wear. Okay, third time's the charm. Hit your button. See if that works. Anything?
Oh, hold the phone.
Okay.
Let's try this again, shall we?
Okay. So from here, we're going to restart the thing.
We are? Oh, the thing. Oh, well, hold on a second, because it's only letting me use one joystick.
Well, it's because I haven't set the thing right. Hold on.
I'm not.
You're not doing that. Okay. If we go here and then we change, you know what?
Using the 500 will be easier than this too. It'll be far less of a pain in the butt. That's not me. I'm not.
Yeah, that's me. I'm doing the mouse.
Okay.
So, game ports 2 and 1. Okay. Can you see if you can get it to stop doing that? Okay. Now see if you can get it to go to joystick. All right, here's the thing. I'm going to use the keyboard and you're going to use the joystick.
All right, fair enough.
We're going to have a great time.
You going to start to...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live stream of Star Control.
We're going to have a fight.
So, Aaron, why don't you kick us off in melee mode?
Got it. That's you.
Okay. I
You're
choose
evil.
the Urquan.
And you're not going to mess around. Bringing out the big dog,
That's
eh?
right.
I will choose... Boy, the Urquan ship's nasty. I'm going to go with the Earth ship.
The Duquesne, eh?
Eat missiles.
All right. Soon I shall learn how to turn around.
You want me to give you a second to figure out which keys you're supposed to be using?
You know, that would be nice.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were just... I thought you were just...
Thought I was just hanging out.
Kind of inept, yeah.
Well, you are correct in that. All right.
Yep, I see you moving.
Yep. All right. It's game on.
You ready?
Yep.
I've always liked the Earth ship. I thought, in fact, I'd say it's probably my favorite. My favorite ship in the Star Control 1 fleet. Oh no, not the little freaks.
That's right. I got little freaks.
Yeah, they're gone. You forgot about my excess military gone awry weaponry.
Here we go. Send out the little freaks.
Oh no.
Look at that. I just destroyed you.
Yeah, but look at your ship. You don't have much left.
Well, I've got enough. Choose again.
Let's see here.
No one stops the Urquan.
I'm going to stop the heck out of the Urquan. Let's see.
This is what happens when Saruman crossbred orcs from the north and goblins from the west.
So long, punk. Is that what happens?
That's what happens.
Now you're in deep trouble, Boat.
All right. Calgon, you're my only hope.
These guys are... I like these guys. All right, where are you? Come get you some.
One thing you got to understand about the Calgon, we hide.
Yeah, I know about that. You get your Klingon cloaking / Romulan cloaking device. But I have the shield. Never forget.
Ooh!
Man, when they say fire, they mean it.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, you destroyed me.
Yeah. The boomerang people will not be denied.
All right.
My race of pterodactyls.
Spathy.
I like the Spathy. Good, they're good ones. All right.
I love what makes this game are the little pictures you get in the corner.
Yeah.
There.
That stuff's really, the second game, really, they emphasize a lot of, it's almost like a role-playing game in a lot of ways. Spathy of the coward race with the ever-popular butt rocket system.
I'm coming for you.
You are?
Kind of. I'm still not 100% sure of what the keyboard
Well,
controls
the
are.
Spathy controls, hey, they're a very spastic race.
Yeah.
That's what, for real. That's their gimmick.
All right. So, here we go. I'm slowly... There we go. Okay. Nope. Oh, yep. Yep. There we go. Unload the missiles. All right. Time to get out of here.
Come get you some. Spathy are fast, too.
Yeah.
Irritatingly fast. All right, you punk.
I need to rotate myself. There we go.
Oh, planet! Butt rockets. Get out of here.
Where did you... Oh, there you are. You're coming right towards me.
Yeah, no kidding. I want to kill you.
Is that what we're doing here?
I don't know what game you're playing. It's a Star Control, not Star Cuddle.
Don't forget about... yeah. It's my kamikaze style.
Is that what that was? I thought it was totally out of control. Time to die. Yeah.
Oh,
Nothing worse than space death.
that's true. There is nothing worse than space death. All right. Andrewson.
The Bubble Boys. I'm gonna burst your bubble, sir. Get your fireball butt over here and take it like a man.
Steady and strong.
Uh-huh.
Not a lot of fuss and carrying on.
I don't know what that means. I hope that's a song lyric.
You don't know that song?
No, I don't think so.
If you want this woman's heart, take it like a man?
No, I don't know that one.
You need to listen to a lot more country music, Aaron.
No, I don't.
Especially country music from like 1993, which I think is where that song is from.
That's the worst country there is. Oh, Bubble Attack!
That's right.
Son of a gun.
Well, I was distracting you with my winsome lyrics.
With your wackiness. I'm gonna burst your bubble boat. Oh, son of a gun!
Oh, maybe this thing is look at that!
Oh, man.
I just destroyed you with the bubble.
The Yeehaw had a good run here. Time to bring out the big dogs. Let me see who I got left here. Oh, I always like these chicks. I think these are the... Yeah, oh, yeah. This is the sexy...
Yeah, the Vixen race.
You know their name of their ship? This is I think it's the Penetrator class.
Of course it is. Why would it be anything different?
Give me your crew. I demand them. Look at my hot starship Vixens.
That should have destroyed you right there.
No way. Nothing kills a Penetrator.
Come on. Alright, I need to unleash the, Do I have a second? Okay, there's... Man, I need to get out of... This, yeah, just travel in a different way. Okay, go! Engage!
No, they're getting engaged, if you know what I'm saying. They need some hot blue chick loving.
What is it with hot blue chicks in sci-fi?
Well, what can I say, man?
Wasn't there a Star Trek hot blue chick, too?
The green.
Green, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Your guys, and instead of joining my hot crew, they just killed themselves. Probably the best move.
All right, God.
God. All right. Oh, yeah. These guys have the vacuum cleaner. Give me your crew. Oh, crap. I love that. Oh, crap. Planet of Doom. Give me your crew.
Oh.
Yeah, the vacuum didn't. Yeah. You forgot to turn it on.
Yeah.
That's a nasty gimmick though. If you catch someone just right.
All right. Here we go. Mycon.
Yeah.
Isn't that Sherlock Holmes' brother's name?
That's Mycroft. I hate these. Actually, that's a pretty tough ship here.
Yeah. Nothing stops the Mycon.
Yeah. Oh, Lordy.
Slowly I turn. Boy, I'm real good at hitting that planet.
I did too. And I did have to put some of your crew in the planet too. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Can't believe it.
All right.
You're down to your last ship, homeboy.
Okay, we'll see how it goes here.
It's good to see good triumph over evil, for once.
Well, it's good to see that the keyboard controls are just as universally despised.
I can't imagine that's the problem here. I think it's obviously there's a difference in skills.
Well, I'm not denying that there is a difference in your star control skill and mine. Look at that green laser.
My philosophy, never stop shooting.
My philosophy is hit the 4 key as many times as possible.
Wow, look at all this crew. Come here, boys.
Cyrene triumph.
All right. I'm going to make this last battle very quick.
You're starting
and very painful.
We're starting a new era, and it starts with the Vux.
Let's see. Enjoy my dog.
I choose not to. Rotate.
I'll help you. Help you die!
All right, folks. That concludes the...
yes. What a motley crew.
Yeah, that concludes the Amigos Plays live stream of Star Control. It's okay.
What?
Be aware that if you play 2-player, we couldn't figure out how to get 2 joysticks
You can do
going
it.
on there. I'm sure you can do it. All right. We'll see you next time. Adios.
That was the only way it could have ended, but...
All right, guys. And if you're in the chat, check it out. We don't need to switch computers. We're just going to do this. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we have to switch seats?
We do have to switch seats.
Wow. So
Okay.
it's junk.
So I am going to mute this mic. Turn that on.
Turns me on.
Okay. And now we just need to move this back. Oh, I need to bring the mouse.
I should have worn my
in.
formal wear, bud, if I known you were going to...
Well, this makes up for the time that you dressed up for our 100th episode and I did not. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I believe people said something about that.
They did. They didn't like that I wasn't dressed up.
It is
that I wasn't
odd.
formal enough.
They should have not liked that I was dressed up in any way.
Okay. Good. Have a seat there.
Oh, can you get around the cords of doom to get into your chair?
And yeah, I will. I'll be just a minute. I do have to connect our monitor here. You know, I didn't realize this. My video card supports 4 monitors, which is exactly the number that we needed.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that allows this to be possible.
And sheer force of will, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put that over there and. Identify. So 2. And 2. It didn't seem to do anything. Let's try. So this is 4. Let's try 3 and 4 and see if that works. Okay.
You're looking easy on your feet, Boat. It worries me. It's the second time you've almost tipped over. I'm like, what's going on here? Have you been drinking a lot of the drink of the week all of a sudden?
Boy, I wish I was.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe my grand designs are not going to work. Let's see. That's definitely on. I might have to disconnect this. Come on. Okay. Yeah. So well, I might have just okay. Now we're good. Sorry guys, yeah. I did temporarily break the world, but the world's now unbroken. What would you like for our drink of the week?
Oh, that's your baby. I'm not gonna jump in on your gimmick.
It's been a while since we had some of the good stuff. Go get us some glasses. Oh, by the way, let me pull the chat over. You can speak to the folks in chat. There's already a mass of people eager to talk to you.
To me?
Yeah.
You poor bastards. Hello. They're gonna find out that behind my smooth facade is a boring, bald, fat man. With a
I'm still waiting for the smooth facade.
oh, how dare you, sir!
All right, now I also need to
bit and give you a little more green room. I can't see the chat menu there.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Let's see. Who do we have in chat here? We got David, Jason, Adam, Brooke, Will, the whole gang. Let's bring up. Okay, so that's still in another. I'm going to momentarily reveal that, Will. Drag over our other window.
Boat's careening around the room like a pinball. He's almost tipped over at least 3 times now, and he's almost tipped over things at least 2 times.
All right.
This house looks like a small television station exploded in an arcade. For those of you that didn't see it earlier, I just whooped that ass at Star Control. He's going to come up with some crap about using the keyboard, but don't believe it. It's weird to watch myself from several seconds ago. Weird and disturbing.
Yeah, don't do that. Your brain will hurt.
Where's your printout?
I'm going to use my phone.
Oh, ballsy. But to earn money from our video, for the love of God, how do you shut that message off?
Yeah.
Because I found no way to turn that off.
You've got to set up an AdSense account.
It's not about money, man. I've got AdSense on my personal channel.
Yeah.
And that's really making me a killing, by the way.
I'm sure that you're going to retire any day now.
Mothman Parade, my band competition march, all the favorites. All heavy hitters.
Okay. Green screen time.
Is this the new and improved Ultra Screen of Doom?
This is. Need our chroma key filter. Look at that.
Chroma key
that
away.
already that looks better than it's ever looked before.
Oh,
okay.
we're huge.
We are a little large.
Huge. There's the bell.
Time to get
someone's chatting on our personal Amigos hotline. They're probably like, "Listen, guys, you're sucking out there."
All right, I'm gonna scoot the camera back, and you tell me when it's good.
Keep going. Well, your chair's not in this. Turn it push that way. The other way. That way. A little bit. No, not too far. This way. A little bit more. Good enough.
What we really need is a key grip.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, how could you not need one? Okay. So we got that.
It's weird when you see Amigos is live, and I look down and I'm like, oh yeah, it's me.
So I'm going
We're
to
alive with freshness.
quickly download a
This is part of every podcast
video.
This is only the Amigos are brave enough to podcast their upkeep and relative utility downloading.
Normally I do all this stuff beforehand. I had to write a 9-page paper last night, and that was the majority of my evening.
What was the paper on, if I may
It was on my personal philosophy of teaching English as a second language to non-native speaking people.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like the cure for insomnia, if I may say.
Yes, absolutely.
You should do it like, remember Harold Ramis in Stripes?
I've never seen Stripes.
What? He teaches English to those non-speakers. He goes, there she was, just a walking down the street. And then he has the class go, do-wah-did-it-did.
That is... That's what I did. That's what I did when I was in Korea. That's how I taught everybody.
They learned how to curse, too.
Oh, well, you got to learn how to curse. I mean...
You've never seen Stripes.
No.
That is baffling to me.
I'm so much younger than you. It's not even funny.
Stripes is it's a perennial favorite.
It is definitely not a perennial favorite.
Bill Murray, John Candy.
I've never once seen it advertised on television.
I don't believe you. I think you just missed it. I mean, it's Bill Murray.
It is Bill Murray. Bill Murray was in every movie in the 80s.
It's also Harold Ramis, the Ghostbusters. You saw Ghostbusters. I
saw Ghostbusters.
This is right around the same time.
I felt like I got my Harold Ramis and
the SCTV alumnus in this is John Candy instead of also Joe Flaherty's in it as well from SCTV.
Joe Flaherty?
Joe Flaherty.
Is that even a real name?
Yeah, Count Floyd. Hi kids, Count Floyd here. Nope, nothing. No SC. Never watched SCTV. How about How's It Going? The Bob and Doug McKenzie. That's where
I did watch that movie. I thought it was very overrated.
It's gonna be a long day. You are kidding, surely.
I mean, it's okay.
It's
one of those movies.
They didn't need to have a movie. I'll grant you that.
It's much funnier to like quote. It's just like a lot of movies. It's much more funny to reference than to actually sit down and watch.
You never seen any SCTVs?
No.
You know who Ed Grimley, Martin?
I do like him. I like him a lot.
He was from SCTV.
I watched his cartoon when I was a kid.
Yeah, that was another SCTV guy. SCTV's pretty good. A lot of big stars got their.
Oh, sorry.
What the? Just.
Okay. I do need to set the sharpness filter, and I need to create a new scene.
What does it look like? There's a 2x4 beside you.
That is the curtain.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought Hacksaw Duggan had walked in. Oh.
Hey, sorry we were quiet forever. We're not going to be quiet anymore.
It's not our MO. All right.
And we just need to crank back.
Let's make some magic.
You know, speaking of stuff that people have not heard before, let's go ahead and start the pre-show. Okay, so I'm going to go from the first to the last to my everything. Oh, yeah.
Creepy. I feel like I'm one of the alien races in Star Control.
I feel like
I should be in one of the ships.
I feel like I need to print out my printout. I don't think I can do the show like you do. Just offhand, no notes.
Print out.
All right. This is the first show that we're doing with the new site, so we'll talk about that. And,
yeah, it's a beauty. Love it.
What's the other thing? Oh yeah, the Kickstarter.
You know, I searched our site for some information.
Uh-huh.
I could not find it to save my life, and it was my own fault because I didn't know what to search for exactly.
What were you searching for?
I was looking for that company that is based in the U.S. that sells Amiga stuff, which I'll tell you the story when we get online or on in gear.
This is not the right link.
Same as it ever was.
Is that a Talking Heads thing?
That's right. Same.
What is that, though?
That's what he does.
I don't think he does that.
He does do it. Watch the video. Same as it ever was.
Was he wearing that big suit?
Yeah. A little bit.
Amigos ideas.
Didn't know I knew anything about the Talking Heads, did you? You thought that was a little too highbrow for me, didn't you?
No, you call all that music college music. And you
That's
deride
right.
it. I've heard all of your stories, man. All of them.
I like Talking Heads. I'll have you know.
All right. These are the go-to oh, yeah. And then we'll open up our G Plus page. What do you think about that cursor, too, huh? Have you seen that
sweet.
today?
I saw that. Okay. It was a beauty.
Okay, so we'll
You seem hyper today.
It's because
Is it because you're dressed like a businessman? Have you been snorting coke?
Man, I wish.
Yeah, right. Your brain would. You look like a hummingbird.
I would, yeah. I don't think cocaine and I would get along.
No, I don't either. Well, while boat's gone, I think the best thing to do is to steal his booze. Let's have a look here. Oh, he'll never know. Let me tell him. Oh, yeah.
My printout didn't print because I selected the wrong printer.
I'm not stealing your booze right now, I assure you.
Drink up, and then you can pretend to drink it for the first time when we do it again.
Oh, I can pretend great. That stuff you fed me a couple weeks ago.
Which one?
I don't know. It came in a bottle, was liquid.
Yeah.
That actually, I got a semi-small, tiny, itty-bitty little baby buzz out of it.
That was the...
and that's unheard of.
That was the... I think that... Was that just the rum that we had last week?
I don't know.
Maybe it was the... Was it the chartreuse? That stuff will put you out.
That won't... But I'm all man.
That's true.
How come your printer's upstairs?
I asked myself that a lot.
Boat's getting a cardio workout by repeatedly going up and down the stairs to get a printout. Didn't have the foresight to print his notes out. I know this.
I really should move it down here.
Does Eve use it or something?
Well, I've got one down here already, so it seemed kind of silly to have two printers downstairs.
For Teresa, I got her a printer, a color, the color scanner, the whole kit and caboodle was like $29.
Oh yeah.
There you go. You can just toss that in the garbage.
They give printers away. That printer will print 11 by 17. I just need to get an extension cord since I move things around.
That printer looks like it could be sentient. It's huge.
It is huge.
I think I saw that they roll around on Mars.
When it prints, the whole shelf just...
Good God. Well, that was a good podcast, I think. There it is. There's the penetrator.
I didn't realize that we still had that background up. There we go. And we do need to sharpen ourselves. Filters plus sharpen go. Too sharp.
Wow, that was too sharp.
Too sharp.
Hush, hush, you're a narc. Woo, I don't know.
That's how they sang it back in the 80s.
You're a narc?
Yeah.
And they shoot you.
It's funny because...
How does anyone pay attention to this? I can't imagine it.
It's funny because we might as well start the pre-show.
Yeah.
Because I got an important story to tell.
Oh, my.
So...
Hi. It's the pre-show. You guys, how come you stopped saying anything when we start? I'll notice on the last two shows, there's no welcome to the Amigos podcast. It's just like right in the middle of a story.
Well, no. I do that. We did the hi, welcome to Amigos, but it got cut off. When I hit the button, we've got to wait 10 seconds.
So right now, I've been cut. We should just do it again. Hi, welcome to the pre-show. Go ahead,
the pre-show.
Now tell your story.
I didn't know the definition of the word narc as in snitch for a long, long time because I always associated narc with the game at the skate arena, which was the game that they had at the skate arena.
Yeah, but that's why it's called narc.
Is that why? It doesn't stand for narcotics agents?
It does. But it can mean two things.
That's true.
That's true. I built a MAME cabinet. Well, I didn't build it. Actually, I bought a MAME cabinet that was built out of a narc. It's sitting over at Teresa's sister's house. I need to sell that, by the way.
Is it getting used over there?
Not a bit, because he moved out. I told him I'd try to sell it. I've never gotten around to really digging in and trying to sell it. Anybody needs a narc cabinet, I know where you can get one cheap.
Does it already have the PC and everything in it?
That's all going to go away. I'm telling you, Raspberry Pi, baby.
Yeah.
It's the new MAME cabinet.
That's true.
It's the way you just do it. And it never breaks.
Yeah.
I tipped into Raspberry Pi during my downtime this week. Me and the little guy Played a bunch of old C64 games and some other stuff. It's a beauty, man. We played some. We played a lot of. I was trying to show some old platformers, so we played Jumpman Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
What do you think of that?
Loved it. He loved it. And then we played Pitfall 2. He loved that. He loved it. And then we played Montezuma's Revenge. Remember that one?
It's a tough one. That's a
tough
game.
one. And he wanted me to play it, but whenever the guy would get killed, he would fall on his head and those little legs would go like, and he would cackle with delight about that. He thought that was the funniest thing. He played the hell out of Jumpman Jr. though. I was so proud.
Well, that's great.
I just sat back.
You're doing it right when the kid likes Jumpman Jr.
So this week, my goal. This is the goal, is to get the WHD Amiga stuff set up on the Pi.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I ordered a Kira version 2 from Amiga Kit in November, which I've mentioned this a couple times on the show.
November
27th. This is February 16th.
Mm-hmm.
No Kira version 2, right? I've been back and forth with these goofs over here, and they said they wouldn't even touch it until 2 months had passed. And they're like, well, we'll put an investigation out because something must have happened. You should have used the better shipping. They're kind of like, because of my fault. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
It's hard.
Do they have a record that they shipped it out?
Yeah. So they're investigating right now, but then they inform me, well, the guy who got on your case, he's out till Thursday.
Yeah. It's one of those, in Europe, they have holidays just, twice
well,
a week.
it's funny. I read somewhere that the dude's having his wife's had a baby. So I through the Amiga Facebook forum, someone mentioned, he goes, I got a friend that works over there, but he's out now. His wife's had a baby. I'm like, I bet that's the guy right there. I can't hold an Amiga Kit. I can hold him. I do hold them partially responsible because we're this long into it. I've got no action.
Yeah.
And there's no refund. Here's your money back. We're sorry it's taking so long. If it shows up, ship it back. So I went ahead and said to hell with it and just bought me another one. It's also coming from Germany.
Well, and that's the reason why Amazon gets one out of every $2 spent in this country. Because when you need to return something, you return it, and they don't give you any guff.
Well, this leads me to the story I was talking about with trying to find that name of that guy who was starting the American.
Right. What's the update on that?
Well, it's I posted a video this week on the site. We can talk about that when we do the notes on the site. But and these guys are doing like a fundraiser to give money to developers for the new Amiga, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
And he briefly mentioned this on the podcast they did, but they didn't have what I needed. And I looked over their inventory, and it's kind of nutty. They don't have a ton of stuff, but they've got stuff, And hopefully they're doing okay. In the video, they go into like how much money it's costing to start the business. And I think the video is 3 weeks old. I just found it. They need to advertise more. I had a hell of a time finding it, to be completely honest with you. I had to Google around and before I turned it up. So, man, I hope they get a foothold because it would be having to order all this stuff overseas is a real pain in the butt for us.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, like I said, Amiga Kit, I've ordered like 2 or 3 things from him, and I've never had any problems.
But that guy's not going to sell any of the stuff that you want, right? He only sells the new stuff, the X1 and all that stuff.
He's got some older stuff. He's got a few things, but he wouldn't hurt him to stock. So, I would at least stock the new stuff that's coming out for the old Homestead.
Right, but then he probably runs into the same problem that we do, where he's just ordering it from somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I've ordered a lot of stuff from Europe, and usually I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
China, that's a whole different ball game. But Japan, I've never had any problems.
I've never lost something coming from China recently, like within the past 4 years.
I can't remember anything
like
that, my head.
That air packet, whatever that is that they send stuff from when you get stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
It's pretty reliable.
I want this Kira. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Have we talked about what this is?
Yeah, it's that Japanimation. Akira.
No, not a key. No. It's the thing that lets you interface a C64 keyboard.
Agree to disagree.
Well, it could be both.
Yeah.
And because I'm going to put my Pi in there, I notice a lot of the Pi emulation stuff requires a keyboard. So I'll have my arcade Pi, and then that doesn't no keyboard, and then I'll have one that does all the computer stuff and all the emulation. Now, yes, I know I've got an Amiga and I've got a C64, but it's more convenient for me to have space issues to have all that in one little machine that's sitting there on my desk that I can hook up to the TV and take it around. So it should be cool. When I get it, I'll I'll document the process and blah blah blah. But I'm looking forward to it.
I am in the process of perhaps purchasing something new.
Is this what you were talking about? I think I read about.
Yeah, if you've seen on Twitter, I've kind of changed things around here in the Amigos studios, brought some shelving out, or not shelving, brought some computer desks I had lying around, some glass top computer desks.
You just have those lying around?
Yeah. And I do a lot of work for people, and they often have excess furniture, and since I've got unlimited space here at the house, I never say no.
Unlimited, eh?
Yeah, I mean, really.
I see the limits coming.
The limits are coming soon. I need to stop saying no, or start saying no. But anyway, so I put those out in kind of an L shape, and then I put the computer desk where the main PC tower is, and so it makes sort of a horseshoe shape now. And so I've got desk space. I put out my Mac Plus, my Atari 1200 XL, the Amiga 500 is set up right next to the tower. We'll talk about this on the show, but Jason Warnes has given us what we've so long desired, a way to hook up the Amiga to the video capture card. But anyway, I've got another desk that is currently occupied by my old iMac, this 2008 Core 2 Duo iMac. It's really useless. There's nothing that I have on there that I really want. It's not new enough to be useful in any kind of modern sense, but it's not old enough to do what I want to do with old Macs. So I am going to wipe the hard drive. See, the problem is the optical drive is bad. There's a disk stuck in there, and it's so old that I can't boot from a USB. And so I need to restore the hard drive with the restore disks. I've got an external drive that I pulled out of my PC. I've got an external SATA kind of thing that you slide any kind of a SATA disk drive or anything into. I'm going to use that to restore and erase the iMac drive, and I'm going to list it on eBay.
Is this iMac? Is this one of those? When I think iMac, and I'm not a Mac guy, as you know, this isn't the little multicolored all-in-one gimmick, is it?
Gaze to your right.
It's that big screen one, so I'm thinking even much older.
Yeah. This is
because those were god awful.
Well,
those were
they were
pretty.
Machines, they have a certain charm.
Yeah, they're charming just as you launch them out a third-story window.
But yeah, they were not great machines when they were released. But it was a Mac that you could buy for under $1,000, which was very rare.
It is rare because normally your printer cable was up around $8-9.
Right, and But the worst thing was not the iMac. The worst thing was when all the PC manufacturers tried to make their clones of the iMac.
That's
you remember
true.
when
Gateway
everything was that translucent plastic.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And they still. When I worked at the computer store, I'd see those come in. I'm just like, man, what a bad era.
Yeah. It was a bad
we can customize your case. I never said, who cares what color the case is?
That goes on today. Think about LEDs.
Oh, I know. I know. I mean, I look at a computer almost like a toaster. Mm-hmm. You know, who's going to decorate their toaster?
It's
not like the Amiga. I mean, even with an older Apple, which you're not going to do to decorate one. Let's say you have an Apple II sitting around, right? You're not going to. But I mean, it's a sort of at this point, they're sort of venerable piece of art.
Yeah.
You know, but
I will disagree with you a little bit. I think that the machine that I'm going to bid on is a G4 tower, and I think that this thing is beautiful. A Power Mac G4 tower.
What year would this have came out?
2002, 2003.
And what is this going to do for you that the other one doesn't?
Okay, I'll tell you. So this machine is an Intel processor. Okay, the machine I want to get is a PowerPC.
Oh,
so if you want to run any of the legacy OS 10 operating systems, you have to do that, and also it can dual boot into OS 9.2. Mm-hmm. There are no emulators that can emulate OS 9.2.
Yeah, when you said it was PowerPC, that's all I need to hear. Yeah. That explains it.
So I'm looking at one.
It's this one. The one you put over there is what? How old is it?
This one is from 2008.
Yeah.
So there's so I'll go ahead and pull it up so people can see.
They're gonna start bidding against you right away.
Don't bid against
me.
Go
to work, folks. He's got too much crap down here.
Let's see here.
You love your new toy, don't you?
Oh, I do.
We're gonna be hovering in front of a lot of weird crap, like this, for example.
So
I'm gonna bid. Oh, wrong arm.
This is it right here. Let's get a big picture of it. It comes with the cinema display. You can't tell me that's not a.
That looks bad. That is one ugly computer. It looks like you could break it real easy.
I think that we have different tastes.
What do the little buttons do? Is that where you set your AM stations?
So this is the exhaust right here.
That's exhaust.
Okay. This is a speaker. It's got a speaker front.
It's mono.
Well, yes. And this is a mirror dual drive. They call it the MDD.
Mirror dual. What's that mean?
Well, it's a mirror, and there's two.
There's a mirror on the front of this thing?
That's what that is. That's a mirror.
So if I looked in that, it's a mirror.
Yeah.
Just like you could...
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Look at that. That's beautiful. The cinema display. And you got to remember, this is in the day, in 2002, you weren't seeing flat screen displays very often. So this was a rare breed. And the way that this thing folds out, there's a thing on the side. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a little keyhole, and you pull it out, and then you twist it, and the whole side of the case folds down, so you have full access to the motherboard.
That's unusual for Apple.
Yeah,
they'll have motored it. You cannot work on any of the devices ever again.
Right. This was during that very small period of time when they were actually doing things right.
You know what this looks like? If anyone out there has ever worked on a what were those things called? A compact. Remember compact? They got bought.
Oh yeah.
And so they had. If you took the front, because it had this weird plastic on the front we were just talking about. If you took the front off, it would look like that. It looks like someone took the front off.
Look at that. Isn't that cool?
That's nice. That's not too bad.
So like I said, this is the pinnacle. This is the machine.
So what would this allow you to do?
So I can run OS 9.2.
Okay.
Okay, and I can play games on that. And it's a nostalgia thing. When I first got into Apple, it was during this time period, and I want to play some of the PowerPC to late PowerPC games that I had back in the day.
Now, how far back in the Apple catalog can this thing go?
It can play anything all the way back to System 7.
So could this play the Mac, the one I was talking about the other day that had a real cool version of Rocket Ranger?
Yeah. No, it can't. It can't do Apple IIgs stuff. But if there was,
that's the one thing I was hoping it would do.
If there was a Rocket Ranger port, like it can play like games that are for like the Mac that Mac Plus that I have. So all the 68,000 stuff, it has a some sort of a doodad inside of it that will run that.
And what's it currently at? Let me ask.
So the current starting bid is $50.
Buy now, $200.
Buy now, yeah.
Pay the man.
I will probably not do that,
Mr. Moneybags.
But the shipping is pretty reasonable. $21.
Where's it coming from?
It's coming from Florida.
Okay. Well,
so
that's cheap. That seems pretty cheap to me.
Yeah,
and it works, eh?
Yeah, I mean it fires up. So
you think you can get $200 out of that thing?
No, I will be lucky to get $100 out of that.
Why?
Because it's
got a disc stuck in it. We can get that out of there.
Have you ever opened up one of those things before?
Let me tell you something. I've been inside much worse than that thing.
Hey, I would love it if we could do an Amigos Live special.
We can't hurt it.
Okay.
By God, I'll get a pair of garden tongs. I mean, I'll get in there and just forcibly birth that sucker right out. Let me guess, it's one of those zero insertion.
Right.
God, those are stupid.
Yeah.
What a stupid idea.
Yeah.
We'll get it out. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Well, we will stay tuned for some Mac surgery. Anything else going on in your world right now?
I went to that neat concert. We could probably talk about that.
Tell me about the concert.
It was.
But before you do, shall we imbibe some Glenlivet?
Yes.
This is a 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey, a Speyside. That is the region of Scotland that it comes from. This was given to me by our good friend Matt Beckett.
I know him.
And he's
single, ladies.
You know that around the holidays he's always quite generous.
Oh yes, he is.
And he gifted me this bottle. And this is the nicest stuff I've got, and it's almost
That's
gone.
the best stuff, eh?
It is. It's the very nicest bottle I have.
He always gets the good stuff, though. That's a fact.
He does. This is I guess the Glenlivet is the location of the distillery, so that's what they call it. All right, here we go.
Salud.
Salud. It cracks me up every time you just shoot it down like it was cheap vodka.
It's not bad.
You gotta savor it, man.
I do savor it internally. So anyway, I went to this video game. What was this thing called? Video Games Live.
Right, Video Games Live.
And
the West Virginia Symphony
Orchestra. The West
Orchestra.
Virginia Symphony.
In the Clay Center?
Fronted at the Clay Center. Mm-hmm. And they also had the West Virginia State Choir as well, which was nice. And it was hosted by Tommy Tallarico. I knew him from... He used to host a review show on G4.
Really?
he was. You remember? Do you remember G4 when it was just video games?
Yeah.
There were 2 review shows. There was X Play. Everyone remembers that one. Morgan Webb and Adam Sessler. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan Webb was the hot chick. Mm-hmm. Adam Sessler was the nerd that could never obtain this sort of woman. There was another review show. I can't remember the name of this one, but it was Tommy Tallarico and another guy. Another guy was good. I liked their show better because they gave better reviews.
Was the show called Another Guy?
No. There was another guy that I can't remember with Tallarico.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the show. But Tallarico has had a long, storied history of music in games. He's been making music for tickets for years and years and years and years. I think he said he was in the world record for the man that had worked on the most games.
Interesting.
That's what he said.
Was he at EA? It seems like...
it's funny. I don't think they did any of his music, which I thought was amusing. And so the whole gimmick would be they had 3 big screens behind an orchestra and a choir, and he would introduce just to throw one out there, he did a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
They did a bunch of
you choose me and I choose.
Well, no, they didn't do that. It was more like from the games.
Oh.
And they did just the ones I can remember off the top of my head. They did a Pokemon medley. They did a lot of medleys. They did a Final Fantasy VII. That's how they closed the show with that.
I'm sure the crowd went nuts, right?
The nerdier parts of the crowd.
What was the crowd like? I'm interested to know what the makeup was.
I'll be not candid on this show, and I will say they were. How can I put this without saying the word douchebag? Let's go with sleek, white urbanites.
Okay.
With that are sort of nerdy.
Mm-hmm.
I was given these tickets by my girlfriend for Christmas. She thought this would be something I enjoyed, and I did enjoy it, but not probably on the level that she thought I would, because 80% of the games they played videos for, I don't like.
Yeah. The kind of music that you and I both enjoy comes from gaming's earlier eras.
For example, there's no one going to put out a soundtrack for Frogger Joust. Because Joust doesn't have a soundtrack. Actually, Frogger's got a cool little tune. But
isn't it Dixie? What is the... I don't think that's Frogger. Frogger is...
That's it. I'm telling you, that's it.
I think you're singing Mr. Do, because that's what I was singing a second ago. When you started Mr. Do, gave...
Yeah, you might be right. Well, anyway, they didn't do Mr. Do either. A gross oversight. In fact, I thought I'm gonna take my phone, this phone here, and I'm gonna film the first thing that they perform that appeared on the Amiga.
And you did it.
And I did. And hilariously, the first and I believe only thing that they performed that was a licensed Amiga title was Street Fighter II. They did a medley of Street Fighter II songs.
Okay.
And they were Street Fighter II's got good music.
Yeah, it does.
And the Street Fighter II, as we've discussed, was horrible on the Amiga.
Mm-hmm.
But I taped it. I'm going to put it up on the Amigos. They begged us to post this stuff. I could put it up, and we put it up. But they did a lot of Japanese. So they did your Marios, and they did what are some other games that you just figured they would do?
James Pond.
No, seriously. You know a lot more about modern gaming.
Well, Final Fantasy, of course.
Yes. Oh,
Halo.
They did Halo with the head choir.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, these songs were cool. Hey, say what you want about the game, but the music's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They did, what's that big game on the Genesis everybody likes? Freaking Chrono Trigger. They did a medley of Chrono Trigger.
Not a Genesis game.
You can see where we're... I thought Chrono Trigger appeared
Super
on
Nintendo.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Phantasy Star was Genesis.
That's it. That's my bad. You're right. They did Chrono Trigger. It was all the things you would think that a modern, sort of a 20s, 30s guy would dig.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know? They mostly filled the place. It wasn't totally full. It was a lot different than the other. I've only been to the Glacier twice. The first time I saw the Abbott Tribute Band, which was great. That place.
You've only been twice to the Glacier.
The only time I've been to see the show.
Yeah, inside the theater.
I've been there other times, but that place was more packed. But it was with an older crowd. Like a lot of people have season tickets there.
Right.
They go see the ballet and stuff. This was all. I was the only. I told Teresa, if we're going to see the orchestra, I'm going to wear my nice suit. I was one of the only people in the entire place wearing a suit.
It's
I felt like
casual.
a jackass.
Yeah, now if you go see the symphony, it's a different scene,
Well,
like it on a Saturday night.
You know, when we saw ABBA, I just dressed like my usual slob self.
Everybody dressed
and everyone
up?
else looked great. They were all out sipping martinis in the foyer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell's a foyer? You know.
Yeah.
So this time I thought I'm going to dress up and look as best as I can, and I looked like a jackass. Oh, an old bald jackass.
You didn't look like a jackass.
No,
You
trust
never
me.
look bad when you dress up. Look at me.
You could look bad. Trust me. That's all I got. Let's end this. Let's get this ball rolling.
All right, guys, we'll be back for the. Actually, the stream is not going to stop. So if you're watching on the stream, we'll
Because
continue.
the stream goes all night.
Yeah.
Woo! It doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay.
Wow. I'm glad you saved that.
Gotta quit smoking.
Well,
All right.
maybe you should start to clear some of that out.
Man, how great would it be if I wasn't married?
Remember when we used to be able to smoke down
I was
here?
gonna say,
that was
yeah.
awesome. And I've got so many cigars just sitting at the house. I'm like, man, I can't even smoke
You
these.
know what? I bet we could do it one time. When it's summertime, we'll open up these doors, and we'll just
We'll
light 'em
just
up.
do it all natural.
Yeah.
To take the screen down.
Yeah.
Like, this is the wonderment and beauty of West Virginia.
Right, and it does look nice out there.
There's a lot of wonderment going
Yeah.
on and
Yeah.
some beauty. Yeah, I'm down.
So
You know, here's my thing. Is that what you do is you start burning some incense a little bit at a time.
That's right.
And then
the old
eventually,
pot trick.
you've got so much incense cookies. Yeah, that's what you're doing. So I have zero news. It's not because I didn't bother. I've got one news, but I'm just telling you.
What is the one news? I'll go ahead and pull it up.
I'm going to talk on the show about those dudes that have the video for their show. You know, their
This thing?
store. That's
Amigo on the
it.
Lake?
Those
Okay.
guys, yeah. Because I mean, I'd like to get their store out there a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
think they're doing that good. Everything else we've got is pretty much. We'll go over the site. We'll go over the magazine. By the way, this was great. Did you read all that?
Yeah, I'm going to rely on you to do some of the site updates because the only thing that I've got under site updates is the new site.
Well, then why don't you do the news, and I'll do the site updates.
Okay.
Because I'm such a tough badass.
Well, you're going to have to do the Amigo on Lake story because I don't know it. But
Okay.
I'll do. I've got the Kickstarter, and that's it. That's all I've got for
you know,
news.
also want to talk about Rocket Ranger again before we get too far in, because there's an aspect we forgot.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
Fire this sucker up.
All right. Try not to.
That was a good booze. I'm sorry. I know because there's a mic there,
Yeah.
isn't there? I'm so excited. Oh,
Okay. Here we go. And remember, we're going to wait 10 seconds before we start talking.
what are we doing in the intro?
Ready? Yeah, you can just dance.
No one wants to see that.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we are going to talk about Star Control.
We're not going to talk about that. We're talking about Star Control. That's why you got crushed.
That's true. That's true. But before we do, we got some feedback.
No.
Sean Courtney wrote in to say, I've got a surprise. He said he's surprised at me for not catching this. Sanford and Son was based on not Amos and Son.
I said
or whatever
Aesop.
he said. Aesop and Son.
I don't know where the hell I got that.
Steptoe and Son.
Steptoe. It's close to Aesop.
Starring none other than Wilfred Bramble as Steptoe, a dirty old man. So
Do you know who Wilfred Bramble is?
I don't know.
I know who Wilfred Brimley is.
Is
You never get any older and you never die.
that what he said?
Diabetes.
That's
He's got two things he's ever said, and I just said both of them.
You just summed up his life
Yeah.
in one sentence.
You will not die from diabetes.
And he said that so Chris Folds is giving away 10 beers, and he says it reminds him, this is Sean again, of the 2 meg/8 meg chip RAM jumper on the Amiga 4000, which came to be known as the free beer jumper, because you're just as likely to be able to get free beer as you would to be able to get 8 megs of chip RAM. So
This guy's better on the block.
yeah, Sean Courtney knows what he's talking
I
about.
like how he badmouthed you for not knowing about Steptoe and Son.
You know,
He doesn't know anything about that, do you? Did you have any idea that'd been a show?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was called Steptoe and Son. I knew it came from from England, just like you
Someone
did.
mentioned some other shows that came from England. That did you see? I guess that's not part of your.
I didn't
collective.
write that down, but
Yeah.
I did see that there's quite a few.
Well,
and
we copy a lot of stuff in
we
this
do,
country because
we do. That's how
we're not really that innovative.
No.
You know.
So we don't have any events to promote this week. If you have any Amiga events coming up in your area of the world and you'd like us to share them, just write us at amigos@everythingamiga.com, and we will put the word out.
We should start an event. You
We
want to do
should.
that? What should we call it?
Amiga West Virginia.
That's original and insightful?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think we draw to something like that?
You and me.
I'm thinking classic computer West Virginia, something like that. You might get some action on that.
There might be some action in that.
And maybe we can cross-promote it with something. What's hot right now? How about...
21 Pilots?
Now, how about classic computer Final Fantasy Chrono Trigger 5000?
Let's do it.
I think it could happen.
We can do it
and
we can do it over at the Wave Pool.
You know what we could add in because we're in West Virginia? Clogging.
Meth.
Clogging.
Oh.
Meth?
We're in West Virginia.
Good God. This is a family show. We don't want to promote meth.
West Virginia Retro Computer and Clogging Festival.
And can you clog?
No.
Do you know what clogging is?
I do know what clogging is. It seems to be a girl's pastime.
Oh, that's going to get you in trouble.
Who clogs that you know that's a boy?
Jessica White?
That's mountain dancing.
He
That's a different thing.
Are you kidding me? You don't want to piss off the whites.
That's true.
Trust me, look them up.
I don't see color. So, what news have you this week, Aaron?
I thought you're going to cover the news, remember?
We have some news this week.
You don't know anything what we're doing.
Let's go ahead and switch over here. We got a Kickstarter that Chris Folds wrote in that wanted to promote. This is the best of Commodore Amiga demo scene funding. This is something that happens every year.
Every year.
And basically, this guy, this digital STA, he is just trying to pay for the SoundCloud bandwidth, I guess, to host these files.
It gets funded every year, right?
Yeah, it gets funded every year.
I've actually listened to some.
They've got 50 of 105. They still got a long time to go. So, but if you are a fan of Amiga music and Amiga demo scene music, this is like the go-to place to go. And if it doesn't take a lot to donate. A €1 will make you a basic Amiga lover. And there's no rewards. It's not like a lot of Kickstarters where he's going to send you something. This is literally just funding the SoundCloud page.
Your reward is the self-satisfaction you get from funding this.
That's right.
Because Amiga has a thriving demo scene in 2017. Let it sink in. How's the PC demo scene going? I'll tell you how. That's how. Yeah. This is it, man, and it's the best.
Right.
So fund them. Yeah. We should give them money.
We should.
Let's do it.
We'll do it. I'll do it right after the podcast.
We love the demo scene.
So, other than that, there is a story about Amiga on the Lake that you were telling me about.
It's not really a story. I was telling Botany pre-show. I was looking for I was hoping against hope that I could order a specific item from Amiga on the Lake, which is that we mentioned these guys a couple times. They're these are the owners here.
It's good to know he's wearing an Amiga shirt.
I saw that, but we're not gonna. They've got Amiga posters. Okay, I do like them. It's a good shirt. Mm-hmm. But these guys are owning the. As far as I know, and I know I'm afraid to type this into Google Plus when I wrote the description. I'm going to say it again because maybe I'm wrong. Hey, prove me wrong. But I think these are the only Amiga retailers in the States.
Right.
All right. Could there be one in Canada? I don't know.
Well, they're serving both according to their website.
They do. They do serve both, and they're on the lake, which is the other side. What's on the other side of the lake? Canada, right? These seem like a couple cool cats. Like I said, I heard one of them interviewed on one of the Amiga podcasts. Seemed like a good guy. Heart's in the right place. I don't think they're really even in this to make money. They're more providing a service. Mm-hmm. But anyway, when I was looking for this part, and I got on their site, and they had a video up to, and they're raising money to basically give to developers for the new Amigas to reward them for the work they're doing or to promote further work in that area.
Right.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anything that gets the ball rolling, because eventually me and you, as slow and stupid as we are, we're going to stumble ass backwards into the new Amigas. And I'm already dipping my toe in the pool.
That's right.
And, hey, if we can get the ball rolling, what the hell, why not? So that's what they're talking about. So if you feel like throwing them a couple bucks to give these developers, or buying something from them, we've got a decent amount of listeners in the States, right? So, and trust me, for our buddies in the States, we feel your pain, all right? Try these guys out. I heard they're quite good. I've read plenty of people that ordered stuff from them, and hey, if we can get the ball rolling on that, that'd be great.
Yeah. The biggest news of the week comes from Amigos podcast itself. Going forward, henceforth, the Amigos podcast and all of our other quality
Keep going.
Media properties shall be found on none other website than everythingamiga.com. Now,
very schmancy.
This is a site that has been a long time in the making. And we had absolutely nothing to do with it.
No. In fact, I stepped back in awe as the wheels turned on this. It was quite amazing.
Yeah.
I literally had nothing to do with it. You had a good say in telling them what you wanted. Go ahead and roll call the champions.
So this is really the brainchild of mainly Jason Warrens, with help from Will Williams and Chris Folds with technical expertise, and of course, Dreamcatcher was involved with making sure all the formatting for his tomes were correct.
Yes,
and this is the end result. So as you can see, we have all the newest features are at the top. We got a special section for the podcast, of course. Then we have sections for the Amigos Press, all of the long form articles. All of our how-to guides and Amigos labs are here, and then a section for our Amigos Plays videos.
And the store.
Yeah, the store is also over here, Amiga Tees.
All the archives.
Just in case if you haven't seen Amiga Tees yet, I'll give that a quick plug. This is the official show shop. If you're interested in buying some Amiga tees or...
Insultery Atari tees.
Also, or if you want to get that certain special someone in your life their own Amigos tee.
And who doesn't?
Then all of these shirts are here at tpublic.com. Just search for Amiga tees, or you can get the link right off our site.
If you want to get lynched at an Atari con, for example, I suggest the Atari ST garbage t-shirt.
That's true.
If you want to be killed.
While we're here, we also have a new issue of Amigos Magazine, issue 4.
Which is great.
Yeah, which has just been released. And don't forget about our forums. If you're still one of the old school fellas or ladies that likes to check into the forums, let's see how much is going on here in the forums. Not a whole lot
they just
yet,
went up.
but they just went up.
Yeah.
And if you want to be if you're one of these people that likes to stake their online claim and be able to brag that you were there first, and let's be honest, that's everybody on the internet, then you need to sign up and start posting on the forums, because it's going to be a hopping place here.
I dig
soon.
forums,
yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
But, as a lay person who doesn't know anything about it, HTML or coding, any of this sort of stuff, I have to say I was very impressed. Then the guys that worked on this are just stars. They did a great job.
Yeah,
and I asked Bo, and Bo, you'll probably recall, I said, "Do we really need this? I mean, do what we're doing merit this?" And that's questionable. But this is a site that is bigger than a lot bigger than a podcast. Like, this is a good launching point. I assume the plans are probably a lot bigger than just what we do.
Oh, sure. I mean, we want this to be an Amiga media portal where you can go and you can get reviews and videos of a bunch of different Amiga games from a bunch of different contributors.
Yeah.
And so, we're on our way.
Yeah, I don't know how many big Amiga sites, new ones that have popped up, especially English-speaking ones, but you're not going to find a more professional, more well thought out. I mean, not to toot our own horn, but trust me, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just a guy on the outside looking in, but man, I was real impressed, and I've seen a lot of. I mean, compared to the old site, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant work. It's brilliant.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So that concludes our news for the week. What about the rest of the site updates, Aaron?
Well, we had a few things pop up. First of all, I want to go back and reiterate that the issue 4, which is the alien breed, is on the cover. It's great stuff on that. I really enjoyed it. I knocked it out again. It's just like I do all the magazines. I went through it as soon as I got hold of it, and it was great. So, I mean, the amount of work that goes into that, and the amount and as polished as it is, I'm humbled that our name is plastered on the front of this, because I'm like, geez, this is top shelf. It's just top shelf stuff. Again, I don't want this to come across like, look how great we are. Because when I say this stuff, I mean, I have nothing to do with that magazine or the webpage. I'm just like
it's
everyone else.
All Neil all the time.
Neil is a real stud when it comes to putting these things out. I mean, real well thought out stuff. So I really enjoyed that. We should talk about Jason Warrens and your S-Video.
That's right.
And then your subsequent video using the S-Video video. He built us, custom built, we've had all this trouble getting video out of the Amiga. And we resorted to this wacky arcade interface gimmick, and it was just an ugly, unyieldy hunk of crap. And so along comes our good buddy Jason, who manufactures a Amiga RGB to S video adapter. I mean, this is all his design, right? I mean, he cooked everything up. It looks like something you would want to buy, frankly. He should sell these. I don't know if that's been talked about.
Oh, I think he's pondering that.
He should absolutely sell them. But you'll notice that Bode has the House Amiga, as we call it, now has S-video output. Now we're in business. And Bode this week did a first video, which was Kicks, which is a game I've always liked. I've liked it on many different platforms. So it's just a fun game and a creative game. And I don't think there's really ever been anything quite like it.
Right.
And it's using the new Amiga. It looks great. And we will start cranking out a lot more true Amiga stuff with this adapter. So, again, big thanks to Jason on that. I wanted to mention this last week, but I forgot on our Rocket Ranger podcast. The front, we didn't mention anything about the art on the front cover. And I know this is kind of a weird thing to bring up in the news, but man, the art on that is outstanding. So if you haven't seen what the cover of this thing looks like,
just the cover of Rocket Ranger,
it is tremendous. It's so awesome looking. It looks like it makes you want to go see this film.
Yeah,
it's got the right feel of that kind of genre of a serial star with the sexy chick in his arms and the Nazis and looking befuddled as the Rocket Ranger streams overhead. Just great. Great thing. There it is. Yeah, it looks great. That's where I was looking on our webcast. It's like, man, that's so pretty. I wish we'd mentioned that, so I thought I'd mention it. Dreamcatcher did quite an article on the Captain Planet video game. There it is. It's crazy how you anticipate my every move. And I hated this cartoon so much when it came out.
You were a little bit too old for it, I think.
No, there's no one young enough for this.
So you're saying that Luke would not appreciate... You would not show this to Luke? You wouldn't expose him to it?
No.
What about the girl that goes, heart?
No, none of that. Captain Planet, to me, if you've ever watched Young Ones, have you ever seen Neil the hippie? That's what Captain Planet should look like. A dirty, long-haired hippie. That's what Captain Planet... Not shiny, silver... No good. But, I mean, Dreamcatcher, it's his usual stellar stuff.
Yeah.
He goes deep, deep, deep down. This Chris Folds. It's funny that you mentioned this in the pre-show. Chris Folds has an article up, and it's 5 games that don't start with the letter S. He picks 5 games.
I was commenting on the live stream that there are just so many games on the Amiga that start with the letter S.
Did you look over what he found? I just want to touch on a couple of these because a couple I haven't played. Detroit. He also makes the claim that PGA European Tour is the best golf game on the Amiga. A tall boast, if I may say.
Well,
Lynx is on the Amiga, and I thought Lynx was a pretty good game.
We're definitely going to have a golf.
We haven't had a golf game for a while, so we might have to slip one of those in. He also mentions Jet Strike, which I have not played, but this is a game that I played the heck out of when he mentions New York Warriors.
Is that like Warriors?
It's sort of, yeah. It's sort of like... it reminded me of like Commando or Ikari Warriors or something like that. I used to play this game quite a bit back in the day. So anyway, Chris does a good job on that one. I enjoyed that one. I think that's pretty much it. I didn't put anything out this week. I've had a lot of work-related stuff. There's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So I think that sums it up, sir.
All right. Well, let's jump right into the game. Star Control.
I suggested Star Control. I've been playing this game for years. I do own the discs on the Amiga for it. And I learned so much researching this. That's so crazy that the path people take to get stuff. So, Star Control is a game. You really don't think of the Amiga as the platform. I played this most of the time on the PC until I got an Amiga. But the Amiga version, in my opinion, is by far the more superior of the bunch. So, Star Control came out in '90. Published by Accolade. We've covered several Accolades games on the show. In fact, recently, too, we did 4th and Inches. We did the Elvirus, Bar Games, Hardball, and Test Drive. Which we haven't done Test Drive. We should probably get on that at some point. It was developed by a gang called Toys for Bob. Have you ever heard of Toys for Bob?
No.
Toys for Bob, and this is something I learned during studying for this, they're behind one of my son's favorite games, Skylanders.
Really?
That's their baby. They got bought lock, stock, and barrel by Activision, and they make the Skylanders games.
They did all right with those.
Oh, yeah. They got a lot of my money. My kids got a huge sack of Skylanders. And so these guys are think out of the box types. The dudes behind Toys for Bob, and I hope I don't butcher this guy's name, Paul Reich. It's Reiche or Richie the Third, and Fred Ford. Now, Paul also was behind. He was the developer on Archon, which loved me some Archon. Didn't know that either. A little bit of backstory on these two guys, because these guys really deserve a lot of credit on this. Paul Reich III started his career, get this, he was making, he worked for TSR and worked in the Dungeons and Dragons games back in the 70s. Now, I don't know how many of our listeners were old D&D hands like myself, but this guy he was developer on some good stuff. And some stuff that kicked my butt. Isle of the Dead, Isle of Dread, excuse me. Isle of Dread, I think that was X2. I think it came with the Experts. I think that one came with the Expert box set. And it was I remember I had a monk on that game. I got caught stealing some stuff. And they sewed gold coins into my guy's chest for being a thief.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. He didn't do very good in that. But I remember that. That was a million years ago. He also did Slave Pits of the Undercity, and he did basically a couple of the Slaver series, which there were 4 books on the Slaver series. Great series. If you're an old D&D player, these are pretty famous. And then he did one of my all-time favorites, the Ghost Tower of Inverness. I've ran this module a million times.
Is that the one that you did last year?
I've ran it in the last couple years. I have. And it's a great module. Now, I don't know fully how he was a developer on these. I don't know how much of it came from him, but hey, it's still pretty awesome. He also worked on a game called Mail Order Monsters, which I've not played, but I've heard about quite a bit. And he also worked on the Starflight series.
Oh, so this guy's got quite a pedigree.
Yeah. He's been around. This was all. A lot of stuff was for the EA. So eventually, he decided to form the Toys for Bob with Fred Ford. The way that ended up happening was Ford did a lot of stuff. His earlier games were all stuff for Japanese computers, which is weird.
That is weird.
So a lot of his stuff, this early stuff, never got picked up in the U.S.
I wonder if it's a thing kind of like how Wizardry was huge, much bigger in Japan than it was here in the States. It was big here in the States.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
It sold huge numbers.
So basically, Reich's he needed a programmer, and this guy they were friend. It's one of those friend of a friend deals. Like, hey, this guy's a good hand at programming, and so they ended up hitting it off. Ford and started. And the first game they did was Star Control, which is where we're at today. For FYI, Ford did the programming for the Horde, if you remember that game, and another game called Pandemonium, which I remember both those games. I never played either one, to be completely honest with you. So let's talk about Star. That's a little background. So you've got a guy coming from a role-playing background. You've got a guy who's just a good, slick programmer. Mm-hmm. That's who you've got going now. Who did the Amiga translation? I'm not sure. I could not find out. And I looked around. And I also couldn't find... It's amazing how hard it was to find a PDF of the manual for this. I had a hell of a time. I used to own the manual, so thank goodness, because the manual for this is pretty important. It's real thick. And it's got all the backstory in the manual. But I could only find, typed up instructions for this, so that's kind of annoying. So this came out in, like I said, in 90. And it was one of the few games. I remember this right away. One of the things I remember thinking was this is one of the few games I remember you could install on your hard drive, that's unusual.
Yeah.
For back in the day. It came out on the Amstrad, the usual Amstrad CPC, all the numbers, C64. It was native on the PC, and then there's a Genesis / Mega Drive version, which I'll talk about in a second. So when this came out on the PC, it supported like all kinds of crazy. They went back, and this is the way PCs were. It supported Hercules. It supported CGA, MCGA, EGA.
Every video card under the sun.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, I remember it run on pretty much. And it also had.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen a video card that old. I'm familiar with the newer video cards that are just massive. What is the size of like a Hercules video card?
It depends on when you had one. And if you had a Hercules, you probably had one a long time ago. They were huge.
Pretty massive, right?
I never personally had a Hercules system. The earliest PC I had was the Tandy, and it had onboard Tandy 16 color graphics, which I was told was sort of like an EGA equivalent.
Sure,
right?
Makes sense.
And also I had Tandy Sound, which this supported, which was sort of let's say it was the same ball game as an ad lib card, if you're familiar with that. And Amiga crushes all this, by the way, but just a little background on what's Hercules cards were huge. And then they went. You've got if you have a PC, you've got ISA slots, and you've got extended ones. Then you had what's called Visa Local Bus slots, which were really long. And I used to have a Visa Local Bus card from Hercules, but it was a Super VGA card that they made. It was huge. All those old cards were massive. Mm-hmm. The sound cards were massive. It was all massive, So the Amiga, if you look at what they packed onto that board,
it's amazing.
It's quite astounding because you're talking 85 to 88, where you've got the PC, the amount of material it took to generate crap was amazing compared to what the Amiga was compressed.
Right.
Those guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, this eventually got released on the Genesis. I'll touch on this just a second. They released it on the Genesis, and it was an unlicensed game. And so,
which you didn't see. I can't recall seeing that many unlicensed games for the Genesis because the Genesis or Sega made it so easy. It wasn't like Nintendo where you had to jump through a bunch of hoops.
And there was a court thing, and apparently it was real bad. They rushed it out the door, and they ended up settling on it, and they worked something out, And we're not going to touch on Star Control 2 very much in this because, unfortunately, Star Control 2 didn't come out on the Amiga, which
it's a shame.
Sucks. But there are Amiga ties to it. Mm-hmm. These guys use D-Paint all over the place to do all the art for these.
Really?
Yeah. And that was their thing. And I was watching. If you get on YouTube, and I'll link this up. There's a post-mortem on Star Control, and these two guys are on it. And they talk about stumbling. They were wanting to have better music. If you listen to the first song, and they don't take full advantage of the Amiga music-wise in Star Control. It's better than the MIDI stuff that they did on the PC. But one thing they said they stumbled upon was they heard a bunch of awesome demo music, which we just talked about, coming out of Europe. Mm-hmm. And so what they did for Star Control 2 was had a contest where they get like $500 or whatever, and they had MIDI mod authors send all their stuff in. And then they would pick some of it out and they'd give these guys some money or whatever.
Good way to do it.
But they stumbled upon mods and they were like, we're going to implement this mod stuff in our game. Mm-hmm. And they were like the first games to do that in the States. And so you've got D-Paint and mods and I guarantee you a lot of these mods are generated on Amiga. So I would wager a good chunk of the music from the second game was actually generated on Amiga originally or produced, I guess is a better way to put it. Pretty neat, and all the art was done there. And just one more little thing. If you're an old D&D guy, you'll remember the name of Errol Otis. He did a ton of illustrations for D&D manuals.
Errol Otis, Esprit Turbo?
No. And among other things, he did the old cover for the Deities and Demigods. He did a bunch of art in all the old modules. He did all the art for for Star Control 2's manual. So it's another D&D tie from back. I like that. They kept ties with their boys. So what is Star Control? It's really two things, right? When you boil it down, you've got a light strategy game, right? And then you've got a arcade melee game, all right? So let's start with the light strategy game. This is, in some ways, this is like Rocket Ranger, which also had a light strategy, but this is a full game. So one of the things Star Control had was if you look at Star Control, the full name is Star Control Famous Battles of the Urquan Conflict Volume 4. That's what it's called.
It's like Leonard Part 6.
So, if you're like I pirated this before I actually owned it. All right, pressure's off. I own it, but I didn't have a manual. So for me, it was just like, let's get in here and kick some tail. If you read the manual, it's like 50 pages of backstory for this game, and the backstory in the game is your Earth is just gained sort of space travel abilities, and an alien race contacts Earth and says, "Listen, we're going to contact you, but this band of space race called the Urquan are getting ready to blow up our alliance, and we need all the help we can get. We need you to come out here." And the Earth is like, "Well, why didn't you tell us earlier?" And they're like, "Well, it wasn't anywhere near here, but now you're in trouble. We need to help us." And so the Battles of the Urquan Conflict Volume 4, all that, this is sort of a historical record of the battles that took place during that conflict, and all the stuff in the strategy area, all the different missions are battles that took place in the overarching conflict that was that part of history. Right? Does that make any sense?
And so it's pretty deep.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And the second game elaborates on it much more. Okay, all this is stuff that was in the manual. So in the strategy game, you're reenacting these battles, and it's pretty simple stuff. And they take different forms, but you're trying to gather resources in ships and outmaneuvering and building bases and moving your star base around to try to defeat the bad guys who are trying to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then in the strategy game, whenever you come into conflict with one or more ships, it takes you to the melee part of the game.
Right.
So when I heard this guy, I didn't know this either. When I heard this guy was behind Archon, it was like hit me like a ton of bricks. It's Archon in space, effectively.
Archon in space.
Yeah.
What you doing now?
So that's when you would go into the melee phase. Okay. And so, but that's the strategy game, effectively. It's not. There's no role playing element. There's nothing super deep. But that's what it is.
I mean, it is deeper than Archon in some ways because.
Oh no! Yeah, it is. Yes,
you can build out. I don't know how much of the strategy part have you played.
I've played back in the day. I would play it quite a bit.
Okay, so you're familiar with like each one of your different vessels has different abilities. You can mine for resources.
Right.
You can colonize planets. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's much more than just space combat if you choose to play it in the full-on simulation mode.
Right. But I mean, when I compare it to Archon, it definitely is deeper. There's no doubt. But it's Archon was chess with an arcade element. Mm-hmm. This is space strategy with an arcade element. Now they've made it easy for you in some ways because some people may want to play this strictly as a strategy game, which you have the ability. If you're no good at the arcade element, you can have the computer play your arcade element. Conversely, if you're no good at the strategy element, you can have the computer control the strategy element, and you can play the arcade element.
Right.
Which is cool, You also can make your own scenarios. Now, I personally have not done that, but I know it's there, so I can't comment on the richness of that.
This game was an immense value for the money.
Yeah.
Because if this was your only game, say, and you're 12 or 13 years old and you've got a buddy, you could create scenarios and play against each other till the cows come home.
Yeah. And the 3D spinning star map, which we're actually looking at, was pretty well done. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to navigate, but it's not the worst.
That is my... Do we want to get in to start talking about what we like and what we don't like?
Well, let's talk about the melee part. Okay. So anyway, the strategy part, you've got that. So the melee, then there's a practice mode which is basically practicing the arcade portion. Okay, then you've got straight up melee. Now, again, this is they've done a good job of taking care of you as a player. You can pick the skill level. You can get your practice in. Then when you play the melee, you can play the computer or you can play a person.
The game's been good to me ever since I was a lowercase g. Now I'm a big G Girls see I got the money. $100 bills, y'all. If you were from where I'm from, then you would know. If you can get yours with the big black truck, I can get mine with the 6-4. Come on, you can join anytime you want. Whenever it is.
I think I'm having an
the
aneurysm.
Party's on the way.
What the hell are you doing?
Get up the truck, throw your hands up, and let me hear the party say, I'm kind of buzzed because it's all because. Oh yeah, it's come back around again. This is how we do it. That was what you were setting up this whole time. You said the games take good care of you. I was just stepping in with my part.
You've lost your damn mind, Bo. I have no idea what the hell
you set me up for that.
I'm going to set you up for something here in a minute. Double goozle.
Disappointment.
What do you think about Melee? We know what we think about your musical taste. What do you think about Melee?
Well, it's very, very basic. You're limited, once again, by one button. The controls are your basic sort of asteroids type, aim your ship in a certain direction and thrust.
Except for one ship.
Now, yeah, or you aim in the opposite direction. Now, that being said, the game does a fantastic job of giving you a bunch of different ships with a bunch of different powers and a bunch of different abilities that are all truly different.
Yeah.
And I really applaud the game's designers for that.
Yeah. It's funny. The controls, I will say, but the buttons didn't bother me because it's pretty simple.
It is very simple.
It's having both your weapons. The buttons, the controls are okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the controls were solid. The variety of ships is great. Mm-hmm. Again, this part is much more like Archon. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. But the variety of guys,
yeah,
and it's Archon. The guys were different, but they didn't have a lot of work with graphically. The guys look different. You've got all these different crazy aliens.
Yeah, I was frankly stunned by the variety of weapons, the different abilities. Every ship behaves differently,
radically differently.
And the way that they can, the thought that they put into it, knowing that they were just going to have one button and 8 directions to work with, is great. It's awesome.
Oh, did you have a favorite? Having played you with this, I'm guessing the Urquan were your favorite.
If the tables were turned and you were using that keyboard control, we might be singing a different song.
I understand, right? But I'm just asking you, do you have a favorite?
I like the.
I don't think they would.
I like the anything that has the homing missiles because you can kind of do some damage with those. I like the thing where you just turn your ship into a flying potato and just ram it at the other guy.
The fireball.
Yeah. The vacuum cleaner thing was cool. I never got a chance to really use it right.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see that. I don't know. It's hard to choose a favorite. Do you have a favorite?
I like the Earth ship. Again, because I like the homing missiles. And those lasers are pretty good against the Urquan because they zap anything that's near the ship. So that you can have a good run with them. The Urquan are great. The Arlu are good. I like a lot of, they're all different. The chicks with the ship where they can seduce other crewmen to come over. Mm-hmm. In Melee, we should probably go into this. You have 2 stats, crew and fuel.
Right. So let's talk about what that means.
Yeah. So fuel is, and there are different. Each ship has a different amount, and as you fire your weapons, you'll deplete that fuel or use your special abilities until that fuel's gone. Now, the good thing is, if you stop firing, it will regenerate. Mm-hmm. Right. Then you've got crew. Crew is basically the hit points, the amount of damage you can take. Some ships have a ton of crew. Some ships have practically 0 crew.
Yeah. And it's really odd that they decided to use crew as your hit points instead of shield.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the guys were just like strapped to the hull of the ship taking bullets for you.
I mean, you've got some that, and some ships can actually replenish their crew can steal other crew. Mm-hmm. And I believe one ship, I get this game confused with Star Control 2 a lot, and there's different races, but I believe there's one ship that can regenerate crew, but I can't remember off the top of my head. The weapons, the looks of the ship, the strategies behind how to play the ships, and against different opponents. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. It's for a melee, and it's much deeper than Archon in terms of that.
Yeah, and another thing that we should we should mention is that the playfield scales. So if you are far apart from your opponent, you don't just fly off the screen, and the screen doesn't immediately just wrap around. It zooms out, so your ships become smaller, but you can still attack and do whatever you want. It's really neat in an era before they could really zoom the playfield like you would in a modern game, the way that they handled the scale involved in space warfare.
Yeah, and then there's an aspect to it that's asteroids-like when you wrap, like I said, you wrap the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You could sort of go as fast as you can away from your opponent, kind of hope to catch them off guard.
Yeah.
Then you've got gravity and the planet that'll occasionally show up. So there's aspects to it. I mean, again, is this the deepest? Is this Star Wars Battlefront or something kind of no? This is almost as basic as it can get.
I mean, it's basically Space Duel or computer space,
but it works.
Yeah.
And this game, the funny thing about this game is, every time I upgrade or move to a new system, this game always tags along. They made an Xbox port of it. It's out. It's got its own little download port on the Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm.
This game's very popular. I believe it was PC Gamer. What is it? It was the 17th greatest game of all time. Star Control 2, I should say. Star Control 2. We should probably talk about the other Star Control. And again, Star Control 1 was the only one that was released on the Amiga, but the Amiga could have easily handled the second one. And I wonder why it wasn't produced. Because they came out pretty close together. I don't know if Accolade just gave up on the Amiga at that point, or I don't know what happened.
I think that... When was Star Control 2 released? Do you remember?
I think it was like 92.
So the Amiga was still swinging.
So I don't know what happened. I tried to find if anyone had anything to say about it. I really didn't see anything come up that said why they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Control 1 is a solid game, especially for a first effort. The majority of people consider Star Control 2 the gem of the series, including myself. Aside from the fact that the melee is virtually identical, excuse me, with more ships.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the strategy element is sort of gone, but what they've replaced it with is a very deep adventure element that has a lot more depth. There's a lot more exploration. It's an adventure. I will say this, spoiler alert. This game recaps a war that Earth lost. So in the second game, the Iroquois gave Earth a choice. They can be our thralls, which is in this game the evil fleet. It's the Iroquois and all the suckers they crushed. They're basically working for because they got crushed by them. But they give Earth a choice. You can be our thrall, or you can be our slaves, and we'll just seal up the Earth so no one can get there. And that's what Earth chooses. So in that game. You're off Earth. You manage to get this awesome ship. You come back to find out what happened. They're under a shield. You can't even get there. So and it takes off from there. But it's a lot more adventure and a lot more dialogue driven. But the melees are virtually identical. So if you're into just the melee, you just get more ships. Sort of like Street Fighter. You just get more guys to fight with, right? Yeah. But it's considered the primo cream of the crop. Star Control 1 though is a solid game. The strategy game is pretty fun. I think.
I had a couple major issues for two reasons with the strategy portion.
All right.
The first is the rotating playfield.
I will say.
I realize that it's cool. It's cool
is.
to look at, but it's really difficult to figure out where you've been and where you're going when the playfield continues to move before your eyes.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had trouble with is the size of the stars and the planets. I mean, they're literally 1 pixel big.
Yeah.
And the color is what determines their status. And so I'm sitting there squinting at this thing being like, boy, how would you even be able to see this on a non-high-res monitor?
Well, I can't argue with you on either one of those points because I have a hell of a time seeing, and I get lost on that damn map all the time. I mean, it's one of those things you can get used to it. I equate it to taking off in Rocket Ranger. You can do it, but you might not get it right every time. And there are some times where you just won't be feeling it, and you're going to feel like a jackass. Those are problems. The strategy, like I said, I like the strategy portion of the game, the map is a hindrance to a certain degree.
The thing that really saves it for me, and the thing that gives it the personality, is the little animations that you see on the side when you're building mines or whatever. You see it going on, in that little window.
Yeah, the little windows are great. The different, like I said, the aliens are. These guys look alien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say, I don't know how many. Of course, a lot of people in the UK were into B5, but this game reminds me a lot of Babylon 5 in the storyline. You've got this evil old race that's bringing out all of its evil thralls to take over the good races. And in the second game, they uncover this artifact that's going to end the universe, and the good races have to come and stop it. It reminded me very much of the storyline B5. So as a B5 fan, it appealed to me.
Special effects degree. Also highly comparable.
Those remain on Amiga. You ass, I'll kill you. Don't ever drop on B5. That thing's a bomb. Anyway, so overall, how do you rate this thing in the pantheon of games?
This is a tough one, Aaron, because this.
I can tell you're conflicted on this one, aren't you?
I am conflicted because rating it on the merits of a game like this today, it would be like if we reviewed Elite. For what it is, from when it comes from, it's an awesome game.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time reviewing it in a vacuum like that. I have to think to myself, is this a game that I would go out of my way to play again and play it over and over again, even after we're done with it? And the answer is that I don't think I would. I think I would opt for a newer game where the strategy components are a little bit easier for me to navigate. I don't need to have the manual to understand everything. Now, that said, I did have a lot of fun, even with my hampered controls, playing against you in the melee mode. I think that's still, with those controls, it's timeless, I can
understand what you're saying. Given the choice, I would play Star Control 2, except it's not on the Amiga. That said, the strategy thing is fun, but I almost always played this exclusively in melee mode with my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
We would come over and just play round after round after round. And when Star Control 2 came out, it took me forever to actually play the game because we just played round after round after round of melee.
Right.
The melee is gold, solid gold. It's old school as it gets.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
I agree. It's like playing combat on the 2600. It's as basic as you can get, but it's still timeless.
And Star Control, like I said, there's the differences between melee between Star Control 1 and 2 are negligible, except for the slightly better graphics and more ships.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Control 1, man, when I jumped back into those shoes this week, I just jumped right in. I picked it right back where I left off. I was always a decent hand at it. I'm not the best, but I could go pretty well. And I have fun with it. That's the thing. I have fun with it. Would I pick it up and play strategy mode over and over? Probably not. I'm not going to lie. Again, the items you touched on are what kind of annoy me about it. But really, it's just a vehicle to get me to play melee, which I can play without playing that. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe I'm not the deepest guy when it comes to that stuff, but I'd rather just fight. And I'll even fight the computer, and I think the computer's a pretty fair opponent, generally, depending on how you set it. But it's much more fun with the group. In fact, I think you've probably been around where me and my buddy Chad sat and played it for hours.
Oh yeah,
played the hell out of it.
Yeah, I can see Chad really getting into this.
He's a real good hand at it. So, yeah, I sort of agree with your assessment on the strategy part. On the melee part, you could put it on any time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I had a look at this on eBay. I thought there'd be oodles of these. I'll be honest with you. I found one.
Really?
One for sale as of 2 days ago.
Wow.
In the UK, $60 shipped in US dollars. So that's pretty good money. I found one other one that had sold in December. Think about that. There's 2 box copies of this that had sold recently. And it was in December, and the one in Germany sold for about $30 US shipped. So I was surprised, to be honest with you, because I know they had to have sold oodles of these.
Yeah.
So if you've got a copy of Star Control 2, boxed, or just the discs like I've got, you might hold on to that. It may be worth something. That surprised me. Reviews. So this game got decent reviews. It wasn't like the end-all be-all of games. I will say. I was surprised at some of the reviews. Amiga Action in April of '91 gave it 79%. Amiga Computing in 91 gave it 80. Some people hated it. Amiga Joker, which I think as we've mentioned, was a German mag, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
35%. Amiga User International in 91, 10%. I mean, that's brutal.
10%?
10. I know.
What? How could you give this game 10%? I mean, I can understand an unfavorable review.
I don't know, man.
10%?
And then CU Amiga, also in 91, gave it 79. So, I mean, 79 or 80 is about as high as it went. That surprised me, honestly. I thought it would have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
I know when I first got it for the Amiga, having come off the PC version, Amiga. If for any reason the music's better.
Mm-hmm.
On the PC, you get that MIDI stuff, and while sometimes you'll get some good MIDI arrangements, it can't compare to what the Amiga was cranking out. And again, the music, they sort of didn't really do much with that element of it on the. If only they'd discovered the mod stuff before they did Star Control, we'd be laughing. But so overall, a good game, not a great game, but a good game, and certainly a good start for the better things to come. And it's worth checking out, if anything, just to throw it down with your buddies. I look at it the same way I look at like Worms. If you want something to do for like a half hour, load up Melee, get your buddy, your brother, your kid, beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our question segment. We got one question this week, comes in from David McCrandles. He says, if Aaron's beard gets long enough, can it be braided, and can John throw axes at it Heimdall style?
That's a good question. This is about as long as I can grow this beard. Not because I can't grow not because I don't want a longer beard, but it just stops.
It's a natural thing.
You've
tried to go longer before?
I've had it longer, but it's a long haul. There's nothing that says I can't grow a long beard at work or anything, but I've got the longest beard.
I've once performed with an oboe player.
Yeah.
And he has a beard about the same length as yours, but he keeps like a small strand of it like extra long.
He's got like a reverse rat tail.
Right.
Those are no good.
No good. You don't approve.
I would like the big, like he was talking, the big dwarf braids.
Yeah.
Now I believe in Heimdall they're throwing them at a chick's braided pigtails.
Right. This would be an inverse of that.
Yeah. And I'm not just going to sit there while you throw axes. Having seen you stagger around this room, I'm not convinced you could throw an axe effectively.
That's probably true. I'd throw it and hit myself.
Good question, though.
Yeah, thank you, David, for writing in. And if you would like to send us a question, you can send it to us at, still questions at amigospodcast.com.
Nothing's changed.
I'd like to thank all the folks out there on YouTube Gaming that are watching us live. Will and Neil and Henrik and Brooke and Pishbot, David, all of you guys, thanks for tuning in. All you people that are watching live and not in the chat, we do this for you guys. So we tape every Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to watch us live. Sometimes we start earlier, sometimes we start a little later, but I usually like to start the stream at 5. I'd also like to thank our Patreon supporters. I would like to thank them so much that I will sing their names in the style of Steely Dan's Reelin' in the Years.
I hate that song.
Lane, Eric, Nelson, Kim, Tommy, Humbert, Star, Josh, Nan, David McCrandles, Jason Warrens, Graham Vebke, Rob O'Hara, Paul Harrington, Lauren Giroux, Jonas Rullo, Kjolbjorn Barman, Tapes from the Crypt, Adam Bradley, Chris Walls, William Williams, Daniel Bingston, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Chad Halstead and Britt Dowdy, Zoostad World, The Long Plays, for in-game footage. Like that?
No.
I thought you would.
I'm not a big fan.
How do you not like that song? That's one of my top 5 songs of all time.
That one is?
Yeah.
Man.
If I would have known you hated it so much, I would have brought my guitar. I can play the solo from it.
Well, you could try to enrage me. Isn't that
Isn't
weird?
that the point of the podcast?
Weird rap you stuck in the middle of this? Wasn't that enraging enough? My God.
All right. So next week, Aaron, do you have any idea what we're going to play?
I thought we would go with a strategy game, but it's a fun strategy game. It's called The Lost Vikings.
Oh, never mind. I take back my derision.
Also,
all
since
about
he
the
talked
Lost
about the
Vikings.
beard, I was like, the Vikings. The Lost Vikings, man.
That's all right.
How about you down with the clown?
I'm down with the
All
clown,
right, man.
the Lost Vikings. All right, guys. Until next time.
Adios.
I have to wait.
I scared you, didn't I?
Too. I thought you were going to be like
Overlord.
Yeah, or something crazy.
It's on the list. That's the only one I can remember when you asked. I was like, oh, the Lost Vikings. That was on the list. That's a fun game, as I recall. I haven't played it for a long time.
Henry thinks I should have sung it in the style of Just Looking for Some Tush.
That's better. I'm not a big Steely Dan fan or Manfred Mann.
I'm not a bit. How could you?
I don't like either one of those bands.
What connected those two bands?
They
together?
rhyme.
Oh, okay. I can't agree with that.
No, you can't fight me on that one. Eh? What time is it?
It is 6:41.
I'm out the door.
All right.
Worked out good. I'm going to take a piss break.
All right.
Cool. Did I say that online?
That's all right. Good night, everybody. See you next time.